Hello, Corner Crew. Welcome to my channel. For those of you that have not subscribed, please subscribe. And for those of you who are subscribed and are coming back, welcome back. And for today, what I want to do is just give an update on this big Starship project. It is a big project. This is one of the big projects that I've been announcing for a while. And it's not done yet. There's a lot of work to be done still. So after this update, this project's going to go to my Patreon. I will have whatever's left of this week, whatever it is I'm doing on this, will be on my Patreon, and I'll discuss it more on my Patreon. But let me give you guys an idea, on what I'm doing here. Now, this occupies the whole table. It's about 5 feet long. Okay, and this is the rear of the Starship with some extra tiles down there. And then we have, it works with the terrain that I already have. The idea was to get, to make tiles that could then be elevated. Okay, and then from that elevation, we can have another deck. And here is a third deck, what I call C deck, B deck, and then A deck, which is the bottom right there. Okay, so this is a big ship that models will be able to go up and down, and basically can play a whole campaign on this, because here's the bridge, by the way. This is how I decided to make the bridge now. This was from the original tile set that I made. And then these are the new tile set expansions. So the whole A deck is a series of new tiles. Okay, and then everything else is the old Starship tiles. Oh, not really that old. They're only like, what, a month ago that I made them. And then some of the terrain from, from that set. And then some of my very old terrain to give a little bit more detail. And the thing about this ship, this is a whole table. And the thing about this Starship is that I can set it up many different ways. Okay, many different ways. I can take off the top floor. If I don't want the top floor, we can play on it as it is and just leave everything set up and do like a campaign on board a ship. And this is some kind of old freighter maybe, or it's definitely armed. You can see the cannon there on those platforms. And the whole idea was to generate these Starship tiles that would connect with each other, make the different decks that I want. Had to be, of course, built with recyclables. Okay, very low budget. And one of the things that I really like about the tiles is that they use Velcro to come together. They use Velcro and dowels. Okay, so that whole top deck is being sustained with Velcro and dowels that go across, wooden dowels. Okay, and so that gives me my top deck. But basically, it had to be very low budget and big enough that if we want to play a whole campaign, we can. Now, these supports are going to need work, and that'll, again, probably go into my Patreon, what I'm going to do to actually camouflage those a little bit, especially up on the top. Right here, they're going to be part of the bulkhead. But by the same token, when we're filming underneath, everything has to be painted, and this way the camera can capture, the painted tiles down below and whatever the environment is down below, and I don't worry too much about these caps and stuff. But we are going to do something to cover them up a little bit. There's going to be some bulkhead structure coming up. And the idea is that this is like a cutout of a ship. So I'm actually standing near the roof of my studio, so I have to be careful so I don't fall and bust myself open. So there's the front of the ship, and then working our way back, okay? So you can see B deck and C deck, and then the A deck, which is all the way down below, okay? So just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of the shape, okay? And here is the rear from the top view. So again, it gives you an idea of just how big and how the complexity of the structure and all that. So a lot of space. I mean, like I said, we could do a whole mini campaign just on this ship, you know? And it would be so cool to have like a little narrative, maybe even use 5 parsecs from home and do like a little narrative on board this ship, you know? And maybe the crew goes through all this stuff, maybe an invasion on board by aliens, you know, maybe it gets hit, maybe it gets in battle with another ship, and so there are fires everywhere and the crew has to run around and try to extinguish fires and all that good stuff. I'm sure you guys can come up with like a ton of different ideas of what you would, you know, like to do in a big starship thing like this. So yeah, definitely a lot of potential. I like this project, and I'm gonna continue to expand it. All right, so let me just take you inside the starship, and one of the things I gotta think about is filming. You know, how to get the camera in and all this stuff, right? So in the back there, you see a little bit of the wall, the ship's wall, so that's pretty cool. We have a couple of figures here. There's the shuttle. And then if we look here, and the sun is coming through the door, so I do apologize, but there's the engine room environment, and you know, that looks pretty cool. So if I'm filming a game and something's happening there, that would be pretty cool. Okay, and here's more walls. And in this, I was thinking, since this is space, or close to space, right? This could be one of those hatches that blows stuff out like in Aliens, you know? So that door closes. All right, and there's the engine room all set up. And I got to do something about that back door, because again, if, you know, we're saying that's like one of those, if that's going to be open to space, well, we've got to do something about that. All right. And then we have the queen alien there being a bitch again. And okay, so that gives a pretty cool idea of the environment inside the ship. And then here we have some more figures. I'm kind of playing around, tossing some dice just to test things out. Okay, and as I said, this is just one of many different setups. And I added this lookout tower here in the top, so I'm assuming this would go out a little bit into space, so to speak. But this would have to be higher because there is some kind of roof there. So again, we just have to really, you know, just outline the limits to the ship, and that's it, really. There's one of my scratch builds, and that's it. Still, that tower kind of looks cool there. So I'm going to leave it just like that. All right. So there it is. There's the engine room environments, and that's it. All right. Well, you guys get the picture, so to speak. This was one of the big projects when I first started the channel. This is an older project, but really large ship with all these missiles and stuff. And now, yeah, it's be kind of flying next to the big mothership. There you go. I think what I want to do is in the future, I want to make more vehicles. I'm really digging this. Basically, this is not making a vehicle. This is making a table. It's making a game table, basically. Well, not, you know, the table itself, but you know what I mean. It's making a new kind of board, basically. What I want to do is I want to make a very large building using this exact same technique, but make like a big factory building with several like buildings connected together and make it just like this with big floors and make it big enough rather than the little buildings that we always make for our boards. Make it big enough so that the figures are fighting inside the building. The other thing I would like to do is I want to make a submarine. And that's going to be for our games of Deep Wars. And it's going to be big like this, going to be like a giant treasure submarine. And again, the same kind of idea, except maybe even more three-dimensional, maybe more sub-shaped, right? Where the bulkheads will actually support some of the tiles, okay? This was a very kind of simplistic way of getting the ship together. So I want to do that, and maybe even an airship. So depending on my space and how much space I can come up with, and believe me, I'll figure it out, we can have all those kinds of things. Okay, and so I will announce those projects, and that's going to be throughout the year. These are big projects, so it's going to be throughout the year, and especially for things like a submarine or a Navy ship, right? A big ship that just takes up the whole table with all the different decks. It takes time. So maybe I'll work on, little by little, deck by deck, and get those projects finished. So I would love to have an airship where you can just play, inside of a bizarre looking airship. So, all right, folks. Well, that was your update for today. A big project, and I'm hoping to finish it up. I don't know how long it'll take, but this still needs a lot of work, a lot of painting, and hopefully finish it this week. Okay. Most of the big stuff is already finished, so yeah. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for your support. Definitely subscribe. Hit like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out. And check out our Patreon. If you really want to help us on Patreon, definitely check it out. And that's it. And then I will be putting up the rest of this project on my Patreon. Thank you, guys.